knowledge seekers, enthusiasts, and leaders of tomorrow. Welcome to today's episode of Students' Journal. Our today's topic is Diseconomies of Scale. Again, grab some cookies, a glass of milk, and buckle up. Before we begin, let's have a small recap. We talked about the business venture of our own little shop, Gingerbread Bakery. We discussed the two types of costs a business has, fixed and variable. We showed you a cost curve, which we'll be explaining after this video. We had discussed about economies of scale and how it's important for businesses to expand to reduce their production costs. But here's a question. Is expansion always good? Can overexpansion be bad for business? Without getting too philosophical, let's just say that balance is important in every single aspect of life, and even more so in businesses. Diseconomies of scale occur when a business expands too much. In a nutshell, if a business grows beyond its capacity for management, the business will soon experience diseconomies of scale, where along with output, cost of productions will also increase. Before we dive in, this graph will summarize what we've learned so far and provide a quick introduction to what we're about to discuss. As our output increases, Gingerbread Bakery will enjoy lower average costs of production until it levels off. If we decide to expand further, we will encounter diseconomies of scale. Here, along with the increase in production, our average cost will increase with production. Now, let us hope that this is one of the misfortunes that happened to Mama's Little Bakery. This prayer can be our little secret. Diseconomies of scale can be categorized as internal or external too. Internal diseconomies of scale occur due to technical issues of production or organizational issues within businesses. External diseconomies of scale occur due to constraints imposed by the government within which businesses operate. Essentially, diseconomies of scale result after a business continuing their growth after realizing the cost-reducing benefits of economies of scale. An overcrowding effect within a business is often the leading cause of diseconomies of scale. This happens when a business expands too quickly, thinking that it can achieve economies of scale in perpetuity. This lowers operational inefficiencies. In Gingerbread Bakery small kitchens, a higher number of chefs will literally get in each other's way, making it harder to produce the same level of output per hour. This increases costs and decreases output. Imagine working in a place where you have to constantly bump into someone. Unhygienic, bothersome, not recommended. Lack of proper management and coordination can cause a higher level of operational waste. This wastes resources, thus reducing overall productivity and efficiency. Organizational diseconomies of scale arise due to the difficulties of managing a larger workforce. First, communication becomes less effective. As a business expands, communication between different departments become more difficult. In some instances, written communications become more prevalent, which can lead to less feedback. Another drawback is motivation. Larger businesses can isolate employees and make them feel less appreciated, which can result in a drop in productivity. This has a higher chance of occurring at our rival Mama's Little Bakery, where the workers are numerous than gingerbread, where despite the small amount, each worker is aware of the importance of his or her work. External diseconomies of scale result from economic resource or other constraints imposed on businesses by the external environment. Typically, these include placing capacity constraints on raw materials and public goods. This occurs when a common pool of resources or local public goods cannot sustain the demands placed on it due to increased production. Imagine gingerbread's home deliveries are hampered due to congestion on public highways and other transportation problems. Terrible service, bad for business. Price inelastic supply of key inputs traded on a market is a related cause of diseconomies of scale. In this case, if our bakery attempts to increase output, it will need to purchase more inputs in the form of raw ingredients. But price inelastic inputs will mean rapidly increasing input costs out of proportion to the increase in the amount of output realized. For example, in Gingerbread Bakery, we previously produced 30 jars of cookies at $100, where each jar cost around $3.33. When Diseconomies of Scale sets in, price increases for each additional output. So, if we decide to increase production by 50 jars, the cost might go up to $210, where the current cost of each additional 50 jars increased to $4.20. As mentioned in the previous video, businesses need to expand to ensure increased profitability. However, businesses must know when to stop their expansion, as diseconomies of scale are a real threat that can hamper businesses. Armed with this knowledge now, Gingerbread Bakery has a higher chance of survival, for knowledge is power. Dearest knowledge-hungry people, thank you for tuning with us. We genuinely hope this video was helpful to you. We sincerely hope you will join us again in our next episode of Students' Journal. Happy learning!